Hey everybody, this is Grilled Christian. This is our first video response. We're going to be responding to the Bill Nye the Science Guy video that just came out a couple of weeks ago. It was about creation not being suitable, not being appropriate for children to hear or to be taught. And what Grilled Christian wants to do is respond to that video. Man, I loved Bill Nye growing up, and this is such a disappointing thing. I knew even then, I knew when I was younger that his views weren't exactly what I grew up with from a Christian standpoint. But I loved the science that was a part of it. And let me just dispel that from the very beginning. Christians love science, okay? We enjoy science, and we'll talk a little bit as we go through there. But we really are lovers and appreciators of science. We believe that God made this world. He made it with design, and He made us capable of searching out that design. But more on that in just a minute. Let's go ahead and go to the first clip with Bill Nye, the Science Guy.
Denial of evolution is unique to the United States. I mean, we are the world's most advanced technological. So, I mean, you could say Japan. But generally, the United States is where most of the innovation still happens. People still move to the United States. And that's largely because of the intellectual capital we have, the general understanding of science. When you have a portion of the population that doesn't believe in that, it holds everybody back, really.
Interesting. Very interesting. Okay, so the first thing here, a lot of what he said I agreed with. It's debatable about the whole Japan thing, and I think he alluded to that, and we'll let the Japanese government and scientists make their own case for their own issue. But I'm tackling creationism here and versus evolution. So the first thing that he talks about is a portion. He made it sound like just some kind of little fringe group of people. How about 46% of Americans believe in creation? That's a Gallup poll that was recently put out there, actually by some people that appreciates what Bill has to say. But 46% of Americans believe in creationism or some sort of version of that, and that all has to do with Bible and the way that it's the way the Bible explains. In the beginning, God, and then the rest of chapter 1, you understand that. Very interesting that he says that it's just a portion. Here's the next point on this. What's interesting to me is how he just misses it from a logical standpoint. He makes a big to-do about how America's these big innovators, and America are these, the science, our intellectual capital. He uses all those terms. Yet it's been because we've largely believed in creationism all this time. Very interesting. I want you to read what Dr. Jeff Miller from Apologetics Press says. He says, what's unfortunate is that Nye totally ignores the fact that America has become the superpower that we are in science and in every other field, while largely not believing in evolution. America has historically been Christian and pro-Bible, and thus anti-evolution, and in truth, it's due to that stance that America has flourished. Becoming more pro-evolution would actually move us in the opposite direction from the direction that has made us great in the first place. Believing in evolution will actually hold America back, while believing in creation has not.
Evolution is the fundamental idea in all of life science, in all of biology. It's very much analogous to trying to do geology without believing in tectonic plates. You're just not going to get the right answer.
Wow. Now, here's the thing about this one that bothers me. And you know what's interesting is I go through this whole 2.5-minute clip as you all have. This is Bill Nye the Science Guy, obviously not Bill Nye the philosophy guy, because he's making some huge errors, and more on that in just a second. But what I want to talk about is first is the backbone of biology being evolution, and that's a factual statement from their standpoint. But here's what I want to read to you real quick. This is Dr. Harrison Matthews. Now, many of y'all may have not heard of him, but I guarantee you've heard of the book Origin of Species by Charles Darwin. Well, here's the thing. Dr. Harrison Matthews wrote the introduction to the Origin of Species. Now, let me come back to that reading in just a second. Have you ever heard the full name of the Origin of Species? Here's what it is really called in its original print when Darwin originally put it out. It's called The Origin of Species. We got that. By means of natural selection. No problem. Or The Preservation of Favored Races. Interesting. favored races in the struggle for life. Now, what is favored races? What does that mean? I'm here to tell you, and I'm here to just blow the lid on it if you haven't understood this or read this or found this out to be, but evolution in its very conception, in the very origin of species, this book by Darwin, it was meant to be racist. That's why you see it filter on through into Nazism, into Marxism, into all those different types of things which root out the weaker races. By definition, intrinsically, this book and this philosophy is racist. But let's go back just for a second here. Again, this is Dr. Harrison Matthews, the introduction of this book. He talks about the fact of evolution, but I want you to hear what he goes on to say. The fact of evolution is the backbone of biology. And biology is thus in the peculiar position, now listen to this, biology is thus in the peculiar position of being a science founded on an unproved theory. So this fact is an unproved theory. Doesn't sound a lot like a fact, does it? But he goes on to say, again, this is the introduction to the book. Research it for yourselves. He asks the question, is it then, evolution, a science or a faith? He says the belief in the theory of evolution is thus exactly parallel to the belief in special creation, which my party, my group, my crew believes in. But he says both are concepts which believers know to be true, but neither up to the present has been capable of proof. Now we could argue that on the creation side, and that's fine. But either way, evolution, creation, his point that he's making is that it's a theory that science is founded upon. I don't think that's exactly fair to call evolution a fact when it's still an unproved theory. But so we talked a little bit about that. Let's move on just a little bit further. Bill Nye makes a point that he actually uses evolution being, he said, to practice or to try to learn biology without evolution as its backbone is like studying geology without believing in tectonic plates. He makes a horrible categorical error, when he says this, because evolution is an idea. It's a concept, it's a theory, it's a worldview. It is not a thing. It's intangible, it's abstract, it's a lens through which you look at the world, but it is not the thing in and of itself. Now, tectonic plates are a real, observable thing. So he makes a horrible categorical error here. Let's continue on just a few points more. Let's listen to what he has to say.